I am not going to school today. Oh no, why do you think he is not going to school? What do you think? Let's look at our friend. How does he look? Can't really tell. He looks like he might be a little sad, maybe nervous. But he said, I am not going to school today. The author is Robbie H. Harris. So Robbie H. Harris wrote this book. Let's see why our friend is not going to school. This is a pretty big book. All right, I'm going to hold it this way so you guys can see a little bit better. The night before the very first day of school, I put a banana, a shiny silver flashlight, a wind-up chicken, a pair of mittens, and a tiny box of raisins into my backpack. Then I put my new backpack at the end of my bed, right next to Hank. This is Hank. I put my underpants, socks, shorts, a dinosaur t-shirt, and my new sneakers with the green stripes at the end of my bed, too. I was ready for the first day of school. He's got all of his stuff together. He does look ready. Daddy came in to read me a story, and Mommy came to tuck me in tight. They both gave me a hug and a kiss goodnight. Just before they turned out the light, I put Hank right next to me, because Hank's my best friend. I closed my eyes and held on tight to Hank. That's when I decided that going to the very first day of school was not a good idea. He said it's not a good idea. Why wouldn't it be a good idea to go to school? The very next morning, as soon as I woke up, I ran to Mommy and Daddy's room. I stood right next to their bed and shouted, I am not going to school today. Why? Asked Mommy as she sat up and put on her glasses. Why not? Asked Daddy as he sat up and stretched his arms. Because on the very first day of school, you don't know anything, I told them. You don't know all the kids' names, or which cubby is your cubby, or where the crayons are, or what kind of juice they have, or if they have crackers at all. So he's saying, I'm not going because I don't know where anything is. Then I jumped onto their bed and said, and on the very first day of school, you don't know any of the songs, or when it's story time, or where the toilet is, or if you can play in the rain. You don't know anything at all. That's why I am not going to school today. But I will go tomorrow, because on the second day of school, you know everything. But if you don't go today, said Daddy, what will you do all day? Hank and I will play all day, I said. That's what we like to do. So what do you think? Should he go today on the first day of school? Or should he not go and just wait and go on the second day of school? Which is the best choice? To go on the first day or to go on the second day? You know what? It's time to get up, said Mommy. I'm already up, I said. Well then, it's time to get dressed, said Daddy. Daddy and Mommy got up. I went and got dressed. I brushed all my teeth. I put on my brand new sneakers. I pulled the laces tight, but I couldn't tie them. I took Hank and went to eat my breakfast. Daddy tied my laces with double knots, and he made blueberry pancakes, my favorite. I ate every bite, and I drank all my milk. Then Daddy looked at his watch and said, It's time to go to school. I told you, I said as I held on tight to Hank and slid under the table. I am not going to school today. Daddy bent down and gave me a kiss. I can't go, I cried. Hank will miss me, and I'll miss Hank. So it looks like he is hiding. He does not want to go to school. Hank will miss you, Mommy called from the hall, but I think he will be fine. No, he won't, I said as I crawled out from under the table. I can't leave Hank, and if I go to school, Hank won't have anyone to play with. I carried Hank to the front hall. Hank does not want me to go to school today, I said. Hank needs me here. I have an idea, said Mommy. You could take Hank to school today. But if Hank comes to school, I said, Hank won't know anything. Hank will know you, said Mommy, and Hank won't have to stay home. Is that a good idea? Should maybe he bring his friend Hank to school? So he has a friend? I looked at Hank and said, Hank, you won't be lonely if you go to school with me. Daddy looked at me and said, it's about time to leave. And Hank, you won't miss the first day of school, I said, if you go with me. Then we'd better get going, said Mommy. I ran to my room and grabbed my backpack. I put Hank in. I made sure his head was sticking out of the top so he could see me. I slipped my backpack on my back. I put 2 pennies in my pocket for good luck, one for Hank and one for me. Then it was time to go, and Hank went with me. Looks like they are going to school. At school, the teacher said how happy he was to meet me. He told me his name was Mr. Chase. I showed him Hank. He showed me my cubby. Look, so there's Hank. And look, it looks like another friend has a stuffed animal too. Then we all sat in a circle and we told everyone our names. The other teacher told us her name too. Her name was Miss Chen. Look at all the students on the first day of school. Mr. Chase showed us where the crayons were. He showed us where the toilets were. And then it was time for juice, orange juice. And we all got to eat crackers with yellow cheese. Mr. Chase told us that when it rains a little, we can still go out to play. But if it rains a whole lot, we'll play inside. It's kind of like our school, right? If it rains a little bit, we can still go out. But if it rains hard, we have to go back in. We sang a song about a train that was down by the station, and I knew all the words. Mr. Chase said we would sing lots of songs every day. And it looks like they're having a lot of fun. Look at their faces. What are they all doing? They are all smiling. Then it was story time. Miss Chen said we would have story time every day. After that, it was time to go home. So Mr. Chase said, see you tomorrow. That night, I packed my backpack and put it at the end of my bed. I got into bed and put Hank right next to me. Then I told Mommy and Daddy, Hank liked going to school today, and I think he'll go to school tomorrow, if I come with him. Mommy and Daddy gave me a hug and a kiss goodnight and turned out the light. I held on tight to Hank. Then I whispered, Hank, I liked going to school today. I bet you did too. And I will go to school tomorrow if you come with me. And he did. And that is the end. So, why did our friend not want to go to school? Do you remember? What were some of the reasons that he was like, I'm not going to school today? He said he wouldn't know anyone's names. He wouldn't know what kind of juice they had or where the bathrooms were. He wouldn't know if they would sing songs or read books, right? And then he got there with his friend. What's his friend's name? Hank, right? He got there with Hank. And the day went well, right? His teacher showed him where all those things were. They played games, right? They played outside. He learned about whether they could play in the rain or not. They ate snack and juice. They got to paint. So at the end, everything went well, right? Just like on your first day of school, you might feel a little nervous, like you're not going to know where anything is or who anyone is. But if you go to school, you'll learn, right? You get to learn everyone's names and you get to learn where all the things are. All right, boys and girls, that is the end of I Am Not Going to School Today, written by Roby H. Harris.